What's up, on my Power Addicts crew? Today's video. Do you have the steering wheel that goes click, 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 flop, flop, flop? You know, whenever you rock the top and bottom like I show here, they actually just tons of play in it. If you've got that problem, well, I've got the solution. There's a bearing in the bottom of the column. We're going to change out that bearing. So, if this is the first time you've landed on Power Addicts YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I do Jeep videos, car videos, motorcycle videos, tool videos, review videos, and all kinds of cool videos that you will learn something from. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Let's do this. Gonna make life a little easier on ourselves, so let's remove the air box. Pop that snap right there, you see it? Yeah. Anyway, it's like that. You flip it back, boom, like that. Get out of the way. It's over here. I've already unsnapped it. Pull your hose off the breather. Unsnap that. That was unsnapped. And hook it too, it helps. And pop that off. And pop that off. Also pop that off and start doing this with one hand. Anyway, you got the idea. Get that off. And then to give yourself a little bit more, just kind of pull that vacuum line off right there. Pull all this back out of the way. And we got much easier access to the rod now. It goes wiggle, 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 wiggle. Using a 1/2-inch wrench, completely remove this bolt. Once you got that bolt removed, this right here is a screwdriver I've got wedged inside there. I turned the blade, of course, lengthwise inside there. Took a hammer, tapped it in, which makes the straight here spread open, and loosens the clamp up from the steering column. Now at this point, you want to pray and hope that your steering column will collapse, meaning down here, right there is where the slip is, which means that right there is supposed to collapse. So as you take that loose clamp loose up there, you should be able to push it down. Oftentimes what happens, that right there is frozen up and will not slide. So I have been spraying. I actually tried to do this a little over a month ago, and it would not collapse at all. I've been hitting it with PB Blaster for at least 2 or 3 times a week for the past month or so, in hopes it will loosen up. Well, up there you see I got the screwdriver wedged in there. And what and I've been taking this big screwdriver from back here, tapping it with a hammer, and it's actually starting to move now. So hopefully get this thing driven down enough to get off that steering column there. And once I get it off the steering column, then we can change out the bearing, which is hanging out right there. So let me finish tapping this thing down and hopefully get it to come off. So like I said, all I'm doing is taking my hammer, tapping right there, and it's actually starting to slide down little by little now. It's off! Now what I gotta do is, that bearing is supposed to slide on that shaft coming down, but obviously it's not, it's froze there. So I'm gonna see if I can come in behind it like I tapped off the top of this and drive it off. May get lucky, may not. I may have to get me a puller and pull it off. And if that don't work, if it's in 2 pieces, it definitely won't stay. But then there's a clip right here that you gotta pop off. You just hang it, you bring it right there on the end of that wire. It pulls right off, no problem. Because there's a plastic bushing up the side here that you will see in the new kit here in a moment. That comes out like that. Of course, that won't come out until you get this off. So let's worry about this now. Then you slide that sucker off there like that, or something like that. Yeah, come on, get, ouch. There it goes. Then you take this out. Free up a hand so it can. It's hung up, there it goes. Now before you start putting the new stuff back in, you know all the corrosion and crap that's on there, get you some sandpaper, go around that, even if you need a file to clean down all the burrs. It'll make life much easier for everything going back together. I promise you, you will not regret it. So clean that thing up before you put the new stuff in. Okay, here's your new bearing. Here's the new gadget that holds it in place. I don't know what you call it. What's supposed to happen, if you look real close, up inside here, there is a ring cut inside there. The smaller end of this bearing here goes inside there, it snaps And you gotta get just right and goes pop like that. See, it recesses up the side there, snaps in, and this holds it in place. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but you know what? I'm not really too keen how well it holds it in, or how lack of it holds it in, because it doesn't take a whole lot to pop it back out. So I was just testing this a moment ago. Get out of there. So I popped it out of that and I thought, I just wonder, I mean, what's wrong with this one right here? Well, it's dirty. Right there is where throughout the years of that bearing being not seated in like it should have been, and bearing being kind of got ball bearings missing out of it and really dry and really rough feeling. So that bearing's obviously bad. But as far as this retaining piece right here, right there is where the steering shaft right there rode on it throughout the years and wearing it out. But I snapped the back side of that bearing down inside this, and look, no movement. It actually holds it much better. So y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Yep, I think I will. I'm going to use this retainer, this thing. I'm going to call it a retainer. That's what we'll call, okay? This is a retainer, and that's a retainer cap. Or yeah, sure, why not? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to use that for the bearing, because I'm just not keen on how well that holds it, because it was just moving too much, and I'm afraid that bearing's going to pop back out, and I'm going to be right back in the same boat again later on down the road. So let's put this one in. What do you think? Yes, we will. Okay, going on inside the bearing, if you look real close, you'll see there's a little line inside there. That line actually is a, let me go over a little better for you. Now if you look really close, inside that bearing right there is a rubber O-ring. Just a little bit of a snug fit going on to that shaft. So you might want to lube the shaft a little bit. Yes, lube the shaft so it slides on better. Y'all take that where you want, it's up to you. Now also pay attention here. You got this really wide area right here. It does go to a certain place up inside here, so it locks in its proper positioning. Don't push it up by the retainer here. Push it up by the bearing. Once you've got the shaft completely in, you'll notice that this retainer right here is just a little bit on the loose side. That's okay, because whenever you put this in place right here, it squeezes all this back in place and holds that retaining plastic collar, whatever the heck it is. It holds it in place so it doesn't move about inside there. So your next step after you get the bearing pressed all the way up onto the shaft, and this, make sure you lined up correctly, because back here in the back, which is kind of hard for me to show, so if I can get on the other side and show you. I'll use the zoom factor and shoot from all the way up the side of the Jeep. But you can see right there is that wide area, that retaining collar. So that goes there, and whenever you put this ring on right here, that wide area goes right there. Now as you're putting this collar on, I noted to you that this particular gap right here needs to go over that wide area is over on the back side. But you also want to make sure you line up these little keys right here, these little slots, because you got a slot right there, and one right there, and of course one on around. So you want to be sure to line those slots up, because that's where your snap ring here is going to engage. So, see how lucky we get if I can do this with one hand. Because you want to pull the collar, may have to rotate the collar a little bit to get it lined up with that gap so everything falls into place correctly. There's that. Get this up in here. Watch your slots, make sure they're lined up pretty well correctly. And well, honestly people, you need two hands, so one of my hands is holding the camera, so you get the point. I'll be back in a moment. And notice the slots, they're lined up. This is pushed up on there. I took a screwdriver when I tapped it around the collar right here, around that retaining ring, or whatever you want to call it, to push it up on it. It looks like I need to tap it just a little bit more right there, then I can put my snap ring in place. When you go to put your snap ring in, a little suggestion: if you take your top one, kind of hook it in like that. Don't hook in deep, just enough to hold it in place. Push down on your snap ring. Now, sometimes, like it's doing right now, this wire will want to catch you to your second slot, which is kind of a pain in the tail. Don't let it do that. If you get past it, let it rock downward. But up, it snaps right back in place. And the bottom one, you got kind of, there it goes. I can just feel it snap in. There you go. Bearing is installed. Let's get that shaft put back in. Now I have that steering rod back on. Now I'm going to show you guys a little something here. Look right there. See all the beat marks? And you see right there all the shininess? Yeah, I cleaned the shaft up right there to help it slide better. But here's the deal, and I'm going to be straight up and real with you guys. You know, in my past videos, I mean, I can make this look so daggone simple and look like, look, I just bolted it right back on and everything's just perfect. You know what? I'm real. This thing was a pain at, okay, I'm not going to cuss on camera. This thing was a pain in the tail to go back on. Here's the deal why, and I'm going to give you guys straight up. Right there, sometimes those things do not want to collapse. And what had happened, okay, you seen how easy, well, maybe, I don't remember if I showed that shot of the video or not. But anyway, it tapped downward pretty easy. When I tried it about a month ago, it didn't want to move at all. So what I did for like a month or so, I shot PB blaster up inside there that would allow it to slide down from up there coming down, okay? No big deal. It cooperated. I unbolted from down here, from the steering box, took the whole thing out so I could clean here to get all the rust and crud out. Well, here's the deal. It didn't want to slide back out. I compressed it, but it didn't want to extend back out. So therefore, I couldn't put the arm back in. So I hooked it to my cherry picker. You see a little dent marks right there. Stretched it back out. Then got my wire brush and cleaned it right there real well, and put a little bit of stuff in down inside the shaft where it's hollow, goes inside there to help break up the rust and stuff. I got a bug flying in my ear. So straight up, people. Here's what I suggest. Is this supposed to be an easy job? Yes, it is. Is it always? No. And I'm one of those people, I guarantee you that if it's going to be the hard way, if it's going to find the hard way, it's going to happen to me. That's just the way things roll, but I can cry, whine about it, big deal. If you're going to change out that bearing, if you feel like you're going to get froggy and change it out, have you an extra set of wheels, like another car rolling around, something like that you got to run, go get parts for, or whatever your case may be, or if it doesn't go back together that night, you got something to drive. That's one suggestion. Have another one of those arms laying around that works the steering rods, that actually telescopes like it's supposed to. Just in case your one that you pull out doesn't cooperate. Have options, because sometimes that rod doesn't want to cooperate and you can't stretch it back out, or you can't compress it, whatever the case may be. So have options. Now, here's other options for you. If you compress it down but you can get it back out, get it extended, it's really difficult. Let me show you. What you can do is measure up here, center line of the bolt. If I can zoom in on it for you. Right there at the end of my finger, that's the bolt. Notice the little notch whenever it's off, where that bolt goes through that keeps everything lined up. Measure center line to there, to center line of down there. I couldn't see it. Let's go down here, try to look at it this way. Your bolt for right here. Oh, so you get my hand in there. Right there's the center line of the bolt to the steering box. Measure center to center. That is where you want to measure the rod, the steering rod here, and make the steering rod that length, center of the boat to center of the boat. Then your option is take your bolts out of your steering box here, drop it down enough to slide one end up on the steering column, get it locked in place, let this hang down to move your steering box back up, feeding the splines into the steering rod as you bring the steering box back up. That would be one way you can put it back in if it's been a total pain in the tail for you. So you've got options if it's really being complicated, and this one was one of those complicated jobs because, hey, it's just me. That's the way things happen. So, in a nutshell, that's what it all boils down to. And check that. Oh, I'm going to go inside my Jeep. I'll show you my steering wheel. It is so sweet. Okay, here's the deal. Watch this. I grab right here. I got a little bit of play right there. Not a big deal. Look at this, look at this, look at this. I'm snatching that baby, it ain't going nowhere. Steering wheel is solid. Gonna be a Cadillac, baby. So, I'll put the part number down below in the description so you guys can order up the kit. I showed you how to change out the bearing. This right here is actually the easy part. Pray and hope that your steering rod acts like it's got some sense. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So now I'm going to put my air box and all this stuff back in. And not only will I include the link down below in the description in case you want to order one through Amazon, I will show you here in case you may be able to order them at your local auto parts store. Part number 4487696K. So I showed you guys how to change out that bearing. I explained that steering rod, how it can be such a pain in the tail. Another option I didn't mention also, if that thing doesn't even want to compress downward to come off the steering column, another thing you can do is take out the bolts for your steering box. Tell you what, let me go show you those bolts. Okay, let's go. In the event you got to drop that steering box, here's one bolt. There's one back behind my bumper plate right here, which is like right. My finger is kind of in line with it, and it's about right there. So you got one bolt there, then these two right here. But bear in mind, before you take this bolt out, you got to remove this bolt. So this one will come out first, and then this one will come out this way, if you got to remove them. So if you did remove it, you can drop the steering box down at that point and have the bolt loose here on the end of the steering rod here, which is a 13 millimeter or ½ inch. And once you loosen it up and you drop the steering box down a little bit, you'll be able to pull that steering rod off the end of the steering box, and then you can also pull it off the steering column up there. So if it doesn't collapse right there where you see the little shiny line, that will be an option for you to do that. So sometimes that's the easy way. So I hope you guys learned a little something from the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't, and down below leave me some comments, questions. Happy to take care of that. So everyone, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Remember, subscribe. Peace. Later, y'all.